Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.
Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Sushma Sharma. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Wednesday, the 7th of August. Former Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj cremated with state honours. Massive protest held against kidnappings in Gilgit-Baltistan. And at least 18 killed in Taliban-claimed car bombing in Kabul. And now for all the details. Veteran Indian politician Sushma Swaraj was cremated at New Delhi's Lodi crematorium with full state honours on Wednesday. Swaraj, aged 67, died on Tuesday night after suffering a cardiac arrest.
Veteran Indian politician Sushma Swaraj, who most recently served as foreign minister, passed away late Tuesday night in New Delhi. She was 67. Swaraj, a senior leader of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party or BJP, was taken to the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi after she suffered a cardiac arrest. She had opted out of contesting elections earlier this year, citing health reasons. Condolences started pouring in from leaders across party lines, the international community, and her fans and followers on social media. Thousands poured into her home and then at the BJP office to pay their respects to the leader. The mortal remains of Swaraj were brought for cremation at the Lodi crematorium after BJP headquarters, where party workers and leaders paid tributes. Basuri Swaraj, daughter of Sushma Swaraj, performed her last rites. Top BJP leaders joined Swaraj's final journey. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Interior Minister Amit Shah and former Bhutan Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay were also present at the crematorium. Delhi and Haryana governments have declared a two-day state mourning as a mark of respect.
Indian President Ramnath Kovind has declared abrogation of the provision of Article 370 of the Constitution, which gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir. This came after both houses of the parliament passed a resolution in this regard.
Indian President Ramnath Kovind has declared abrogation of the provisions of Article 370 of the Constitution, which gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir. The move came after both houses of the parliament passed a resolution in this regard. The lower house of the Indian Parliament on Tuesday approved a resolution abrogating special status to Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370 of the Constitution and a bill for splitting the state into two union territories. The upper house of the Parliament had already approved the Jammu and Kashmir reorganization bill on Monday. The Parliament initially voted to pass the bill with 367 ayes, but the chair later declared the final result with 370 ayes, subject to correction and based on voting slips. Both houses of the parliament remained adjourned sine die. Meanwhile, heavy security continued to be deployed on Wednesday in several parts of Jammu and Kashmir, with police patrolling and conducting security checks at various places as a ban on public gatherings of more than 4 people stayed in force.
Moving on, a massive protest was held by locals and activists in the illegally occupied region of Gilgit-Baltistan to demand the release of 4 persons allegedly kidnapped by terrorists. The protesters blamed the authorities for showing no interest in the case and raised security concerns. A massive protest was held recently in Gilgit-Baltistan against the abduction of 4 persons allegedly by terrorists belonging to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region of Pakistan. The protesters, including locals and activists, raised slogans demanding action for the release of the abducted persons. They alleged that a case had been instead filed against the abducted persons on some false charges and they are now under arrest in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
ओ जी भी हुकूमत वालों, इधर 2 मिनिस्टर बैठे हैं, तुम्हारे चेहरे पे कलाई है, कलाई। तुम अगर कोई शर्म है, आज मीडिया के सामने आके बताओ कि हमारी कोई बात नहीं चलती है। हमारे बच्चों को अगवा भी किया गया, उनके ऊपर मुकदमा भी डाला गया। हम बेबस है, हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते।
इंसाफ करना होगा। इमरान खान वाला इंसाफ नहीं, हकीकी इंसाफ करना होगा। जाली इंसाफ नहीं, असली इंसाफ करना होगा।
The protesters also raised doubts over the security situation in Gilgit-Baltistan and safety of the common public. Activists have long blamed that Pakistan sponsored terror groups to spread fear among the masses in territories under its illegal occupation. In news from Afghanistan, at least 18 people were killed and nearly 100 wounded after a suicide attacker detonated a car bomb outside a police station in Afghan capital Kabul on Wednesday. The Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack a day after the militant group called for a boycott of the September 28th presidential elections.
A suicide attacker detonated a car bomb outside a police station in Afghan capital Kabul on Wednesday, killing at least 18 and wounding nearly 100. The blast in the west of the city during the morning rush hour sent a huge cloud of grey smoke billowing into the sky. The Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack and said a recruitment center had been attacked by one of their suicide bombers.
ما فقط نمیدونیم چای صبح رفتیم که داخل هتل باشیم چای صبح بخوریم متاسفانه هم پیش شام 6 بودیم که یک گرمپس خیس دیگه اطلاع پیدا نکردیم.
Presidential polls are scheduled to be held on September 28, but the security situation has been deteriorating across the country with frequent attacks by the Taliban and Islamic State fighters. There has been no let-up in violence even though the US and Taliban appear close to a historic pact for US troops to withdraw in exchange for a Taliban promise that the country would not be used as a base from which to plot attacks by extremists.
More news from Afghanistan. Hizb Islami Party leader and presidential candidate Gulbuddin Hekmatyar said that despite doubts in the upcoming presidential poll, he will continue his campaigns till the end. Presidential election in Afghanistan is scheduled for September 28th. Hizb Islami leader and presidential candidate Gulbuddin Hekmatyar said that despite doubts in the upcoming presidential poll scheduled in September, he will continue his campaigns till the end as election is the only way to take the nation out of crisis. Hekmatyar, who addressed Paktiya tribal elders at a gathering in Kabul on Tuesday, said the incumbent government has failed in many ways and the reason is that it was created as a result of a coalition. He said Afghans do not know the fate of their country in the view of the complexity that has been dominating Afghanistan's election and the peace process. Former warlord Hekmatyar has signed a peace deal with President Ashraf Ghani's government in 2016. Hekmatyar, whose fighters killed thousands in Kabul during the bloody civil war of the 1990s, said Paktiya province has been deprived in the last 5 years. In news from Bangladesh, a boat market in Maniganj district of Bangladesh has been abuzz with sales since the last month amid flooding in parts of the country. Water transportation is anyway an important means of communication in several parts of Bangladesh to provide cheap and convenient transport, but flooding has added profit to the business.
Hundreds of handmade wooden boats were seen lined up for sale at a market in central Bangladesh's Maniganj district recently as the demand of a small-sized boats rise amid widespread flooding in the country. In many parts of river in Bangladesh, water transportation is an important means of communication for the whole year to provide cheap and convenient transport. The market has been abuzz since floods where buyers and sellers are thronging in large numbers. Together with India and Nepal, Bangladesh was also lashed with monsoon rain last month, which claimed dozens of lives and displaced hundreds of people, according to media reports. The three countries frequently battle flash floods and heavy rainfall during the monsoon season.
The Reserve Bank of India or RBI on Wednesday cut the repo rate by an unconventional 35 basis point to 5.40%, just above a 25 basis point cut. The RBI governor said the rate cuts are in tandem with anticipated government moves expected to lift the economic growth.
The Reserve Bank of India or RBI on Wednesday cut its benchmark interest rates for a fourth straight meeting and by slightly more than expected, highlighting the depth of its concern about economic growth that slid to its lowest pace in nearly 5 years. The 6-member Monetary Policy Committee or MPC cut the repo rate by an unconventional 35 basis points to 5.40%, just above a 25 basis point cut. RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das said the recent rate cuts are in tandem with anticipated government moves should lift sluggish economic growth.
It has reduced the policy repo rate by a cumulative 75 basis points till today's meeting. In addition, it has changed the stance of policy from neutral to accommodative, which is effectively a further reduction in the policy rate since it takes rate increase off the table, while committing to either rate reductions or status quo going forward.
Das said addressing growth concerns by boosting aggregate demand, especially private investment, assumes the highest priority at this juncture, noting that the inflation outlook remains benign for now despite the recent rate cuts.
The annual festival of Ati Kota was celebrated in India's southern Mangaluru city recently. The festival, which falls during the monsoon season, witnesses people enjoying traditional folk dance and relishing local delicacies.
The annual Ati Kota festival was celebrated recently in Mangaluru city of India's southern Karnataka province. The Ati festival is celebrated with huge enthusiasm by residents of Mangaluru. As part of the festival, various traditional and cultural items were displayed to familiarize youth with their roots at the Pilikula Nisargadhama, a tourist attraction in Mangaluru. People feast together using seasonal ingredients on the occasion. During the Ati month, it is believed that a spirit called Ati Kalanja visits the village people and protects them from all the calamities and diseases.
My second time I am coming to Pilikula Nisargadhama for this special Ati Kota. So every year in August or July, whatever we call as Ati festival, we come here, we celebrate, we mingle with people, we discuss about the tradition.
This year in Pilikula Nisargadhama, we have arranged Ati Kota. We have prepared lunch with seasonal delicacies from Dakshina Kannada, making use of the ingredients available during this season.
Ati or monsoon month, which generally starts from July, continues till August. This month is considered to be inauspicious time and unsuitable for marriage, ceremonies or new startups.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Former Indian Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj cremated with state honours. Massive protest held against kidnappings in Gilgit-Baltistan. And at least 18 killed in Taliban-claimed car bombing in Kabul. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter at SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.